All right, so this is our group project 2. Title of it is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? My name is Wyland. I am the team leader this time around, and let's get started. Next slide, please. All right, so I just gave the intro. Here's the structure of what we're going to go over today. We'll meet everybody. We'll meet the hosts. We'll summarize the project up. We'll go over the design and give an overview of it, go over some key design features, and then we'll finish out with a demonstration. So let's meet everybody.
So my name is Pascal, and I worked on general CSS and as well as the leaderboard page.
I'm Ethan Mentor. I worked on the CSS as well as the PowerPoint and getting the video recorded.
My name is Ifas Khan. I work on the sign up page and the login using the PHP session.
So for this project, it was designed to simulate the popular game Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Our implementation is a web app that utilizes cookies and sessions, leaderboards, and form processing. Next slide. So the general requirements for this assignment would be correct use of HTML, CSS, and PHP. We had to consider font color, color choice, as well as layout, how good it looks. The project had to have a clear focal point on each web page, reasonably complex layout, appropriate design, easy navigation, and the content had to be presented in a useful and usable way. All right, next slide. So for our build process, we started by brainstorming via Discord, project idea. Cruz came up with the initial project idea, and he also made some PDFs that showed off how the website's going to work, how the question is going to lay out. We started by making initial things, so they went through a lot of iterations there. We assigned specific roles, login functionality, content, CSS, and PHP backend. And we made several drafts of it, and we pushed these changes, and they went in, and then we created the PowerPoint, and now we're making the video. Next slide. Okay, so the general design overview was we had to make a login and registration page, and we had to require that you had to be logged in to access the home page in questions. A leaderboard that records each registered user's score, and the questions had to be worth a certain point value. Correct answers increase score and allow access to the next question, while incorrect answers will cause a game over. Now we're going to go to a demonstration.
So we have the registration page of the app, which Aoife has worked on, so I'll let him talk about it.
So when a user first signs up, we take all the user data and we store all the data in a TXT file in a CSV format. And then when a user logs in, we open up the TXT file, and then we try to find out that username. So if the username is in our TXT file, then we take the password from the file and we match it to the password that the user sent. If both the password match, we create a session for the user, and then we take the user to the home page. If the password doesn't match, we redirect the user to the error page.
So we'll just simulate a login. I think this is a user that I already have in there, but we'll see. Okay, so no, it's not. And that is incorrect. So that was the error page that Aoife has implemented, and there it is again. Oh, let me try another user. Let's try this. And so this is the page you see after a successful login, which would be the home page, where you have access to the questions, leaderboards, and logout, and onto the questions which were designed by Cruz.
All right, so of course, this is the main point of the game right here. Just like in the real show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the only way you advance is if you answer questions correctly. The moment you answer a question wrong, you lose the game, plain and simple. Instead of using pushable buttons like you would see in the actual show, we're using a select list so that the PHP forms can be checked and processed every single time a question is answered. So let's say we choose the right answer, which is A in this case. So then you move on to the next question. It shows the monetary amount each time. So let's say we choose the wrong answer. So choose A, you lost. And then there's a link to go to the leaderboard. We won't show the winner page here because you need to win the game to see that. But you can see the leaderboard that Chip's created, and I'll let him talk about that.
So I created the leaderboard from the leaderboard that displays all the users that we have, the top 5 users anyway with highest score, and I implemented that with an associative array and just kind of sorted it by the values which are associated with the names of the participants. And that's how we have it displayed here. So even if we have 100 users that have signed in or registered in the game, only the top 5 highest scores are going to be displayed on this page. And when you get to this page and you've seen what you want to see, you can either try the game again or you can log out of the game because you're done with your session. And you go back to the login screen here. So I think that should be all for the demonstration.
All right, so thank you for that demonstration. This is a layout of how the whole site is supposed to operate. Like I mentioned, we talked about how you need to advance through each question and get it right to get on to the next one. And you can see the wrong answer logic right there. And the only way to get to winner is to answer all 10 of them correctly. Next slide. And then here is the initial draft of just the question layout. You'll have the site heading, which you'll see in all of the PHP files, and then the division for the actual question with all the answers. We decided to implement a table for that, and then we have a selection box that displays all the answers that you can choose from, and then when you press the submit button for that final answer, then the form is processed, and then you get to determine whether you move on or not. And then on the next slide, you can see that applied, which is really, really cool. We were able to successfully apply a theoretical concept to something tangible and something that we can see. Next slide. And then, like Ethan mentioned earlier, these key design features are not only brought up in the prompt, but they're what makes this game work. The cookies and session handling, that is seen in login, register, and the error page. Form processing is the main part of the game. You check the answers each time a question is answered, and then Chip's integrated the leaderboard. Next slide, we'll have Ifaz talk more about the login page.
Go to slide 13. Yeah. So when a user logs in, we take their username and password from the input field, and then we open up our user data.txt file, and then we go through the user data file to look for the user. If the user doesn't exist, we show an error. If the user exists, we take the password of the user, and then we match that user's password against the password that was submitted via the login page. If the both password matches, then we start a session for the user, and then we make the user logged in using a session logged in equals to true, and then we assign the username password with the username password that we got from the login page, and then we send the user to the home page where they can start to play the game. If the user enters the wrong password, and we take the user to the error page.
All right, and then this is just the question logic, specifically the select list. And then you can see the answer checking logic. This file, this script, this PHP script down here is shared by all of the question files and winner.php. the answers are not checked until you get to the next question. So you can see that exit part there. You'll technically go to question 2 if you answer question 1 at all, but if you answer it incorrectly, you leave and go to the loser.php page. Next slide.
Now, for the leaderboard integration, what we did was we took each line in the user data file, and we pretty much turned that into a string. An array. And further, we turned that each line as an array. We further broke that down into key value pairs. In this case, the keys would be the name of the user, while the pairs would be the scores. And with those, we were able to then sort by score and then display it based on the score on the leaderboard in an ascending order. And that is all for the logic of the app.